While we were editing the Gettysburg segment of the documentary, we came across something that we were not expecting. Do you remember when Captain Chris was telling us about the battle at the Grove? During the editing process, we noticed that we were hearing what sounded like gunshots and cannon fire. Also, what made this interesting is that the shots don't start until Captain Chris gives the right oblique order. Then 5 shots are heard. Captain Chris then does the bugle church call, and not another shot is heard. We contacted Captain Chris, and he confirmed that there were no other reenactments being done that day. Did we capture sounds of the battlefield? Watch it again.
Thusly, and about 100 yards in front of me, they got the command by the right oblique, march. They took a 45-degree angle up that slope in the famous Battle of East Cemetery Hill, here in the Battle of Gettysburg. Unfortunately for Hayes' Louisiana taggers, on the top of that hill, in front of the very famous red brick gate of the Evergreen Cemetery, was waiting an entire corps of Yankees with a battery of cannon. And unfortunately for Hayes' Louisiana taggers, 1,000 men could not beat an entire corps. They lost their first battle, and 60% of the men did not make it back to the ensuing ridge from which they launched their battle. Now, we will talk more in this tour about those men trying to get back to their lines. But what happened? This battle was in late afternoon. Shortly after the battle, it got dark. The bugler came out and sounded church call, ba 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 ba, etc.
There's no denying that ghosts and creatures of the night appear in every land, culture, and language. Scottish moors and their foggy meadow are rich ground for tales of werewolves and demons who step out of the dark and snatch up unsuspecting humans. Long deserted castles in the British Isles are home to tormented dead souls walking their hallways at night, moaning their stories of sadness and woe. There are ancient African tales of alien creatures falling from the sky, stories of sea monsters in the South Pacific, and legends of abominable snowmen in the mountains of Asia. America's melting pot diversity creates perhaps the widest variety of ghost lore in the world. From the tale written by Washington Irving, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, to the haunted writings of Edgar Allan Poe, our ghost lore is integrated with our history and is a rich part of American folklore. Lionsville, Pennsylvania. 115 West Erie Street is home to one of the most intriguing haunted locations in all of Northwest Pennsylvania, the Knickerbocker Hotel. This hotel is literally a certified haunted hotel. It was built over 130 years ago and has a long and interesting history. The Knickerbocker Hotel has been investigated by a number of paranormal research teams, including our very own Oil Region Paranormal Investigation Team, ORPIT. It's even been featured on A&E's Paranormal State. Some people hear voices. Some people see things, including apparitions. Others just feel something, a strong, overwhelming sensation of a presence reminding them that they are not alone. It seems that the Knickerbocker Hotel has had some guests check in, but they didn't check out. Probably every psychic or medium who has visited the Knickerbocker Hotel, and there have been numerous, has had at least one of these experiences. Let's hear from the hotel's owner, Peg Knickerbocker, as she joins us with her very own personal experiences.
Being that I've seen such weird things happening in this building, I decided to do a little history. I was paralegal for 28 years doing property histories for different attorneys, and so I was pretty good at research. So I decided I'd go ahead and I'd do the research on the building. What I found out was the building had been, the property itself had been bought in 1870 by a Clara Connick, and the property had a small tannery sitting on it in the middle of the building. There had not been a building on here this size. When she bought the property, she had been widowed, and then what happened was she met another man who was working at a hotel down the street. There was a family that was named Wallace, and they had a hotel at the end of the street going out of town. His name was Milo Arnold. She was a widow, so they gathered together and they decided what they were going to do was build this building. They wanted to have a really grand hotel. So they borrowed the money from the Stratton family, and they took out a mortgage, and they ended up building this. This was dedicated in 1882 is when they finished the building. Total, there's been 19 different owners of the building. So the building has a lot of rich history of being an open to the public establishment, either where it was a hotel, restaurant and bar, and now for private functions only. And the name of the building has changed 3 times. It was originally the Arnold House, dedicated as the Arnold House from the Arnold family. Then Joseph McGuire took on the name of the Arlington. Then it was incorporated as the Arlington. And then when my husband and I got it back, we named it the Knickerbocker. When we first got the building in 1993, we got it late in the year, so in 1994 we had one of those bad, horrible, freezy cold winters. There was a time when I was upstairs and I was working on the books, and I had no idea at that time, I had not done any history about the Opera House door being there, the entrance being there. It was just rooms all around upstairs. I was doing the books, and it was really late, and I was deciding what to stay or go. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I could hear outside that the street cleaners were out there, and it was real crisp and cold. And all of a sudden, I could hear what I thought was people coming up the stairwells. I flipped out. I was scared. I thought, oh, somebody has gotten the door left open, and there's bar people in here, and they're coming up to see what's going on. I have money here. I really got kind of frightened. I went to go over to the doors and lock them. Now, these were old hotel doors with the little slide snap locks that turn like this. I went to touch them. They snapped shut. Snap, snap, snap. I heard 3 snaps. I could still hear people coming up the stairs. So I thought, I'm going to look underneath the door and see who's out there. I looked underneath the door, and I'm looking for like feet. There's nothing, but there's sound, and I can hear them going by. How am I going to get out of the building? There's somebody in here. I can't see them. I don't know where they're at. They know I'm here. These doors are right here. What's my fastest exit? I hurried up. I got to the front window. I saw that there was a street crew out front doing stuff, so I decided I'd go straight down from the 2nd floor, straight out, and I'd go out a crash door. And that's how I was going to exit the building, and that's what I did. I got in my car. I drove home. I thought, okay, this has got to be my imagination. I hope nobody's in the building, but I'm gone. I'm out of there. That was one of my first experiences of hearing really odd things in the building. When I was in the kitchen cooking one day, about 2:30 in the afternoon, I was getting ready to do some prep. It's called prep when you're in the restaurant business. I had the back door open where our liquor was kept. Right before you get to the back door where our liquor is kept is a men's restroom. I was looking out that door, and all of a sudden I saw a man standing there. He was in his maybe late 50s, early 60s. I looked right at him. He was looking right at me, and I said, "Sir, you can't be back there. That's where our liquor's at." And he just kind of looked at me. He bowed his head a little bit like he acknowledged me, but he kept walking, and he walked through the room. So I went directly into the room, looked around, and there was no exit in there, and he wasn't there. When I saw him, I saw an actual, like I'm looking at a person. He had a ruddy complexion, kind of a balding man. He had on a plaid shirt and what I would call the green dicky pants that a worker man would wear with, just general work pants. That's how clear it looked to me.